Continuing our side-by-side look of the Canon C50 and the FX3, it's now time to shift our focus to video codecs, because having a variety of different video codecs and formats is the backbone of what makes video-focused cameras like these the right choice as a professional tool for video work, whether it be for broadcast work, documentary, narrative short films, content creation, long form or short form. Having access to the right codecs and formats makes all the difference in giving you the flexibility, performance, and quality you need. With that in mind, we wanted to take a look at the codecs on offer on the Canon C50 and the FX3. Let's start with the Sony FX3A. There are three codecs available: Sony's XAVC-HS, which is their H.265 HEVC format. Then there's their XAVC-S, their long-up H.264 format. And then there's their XAVC-SI, which is their industry standard intra-frame all-eye H.264 base codec. Let's start with XAVC-HS. As stated, this is Sony's implementation of their H.265 HEVC format, and when using this format on the FX3A, you only have the option to shoot in 4K UHD with no FHD option and no DCI 4K. It's also available only in 10-bit with two options of either 420 or 422 color space. There's some other limitations here with Sony's XAVC-HS. When shooting in PAL mode, you only have 50 and 100 FPS with no 25 FPS option. If you happen to be in an NTSC region, then the option is 24, 60 and 120 FPS, but there's still no 30 FPS option, so just something to consider. Overall, HEVC as a format is very efficient when it comes to the quality you can capture with minimal storage space taken up, and with the correct supported computing hardware, playback and editing with it works great. Now let's look at XAVC-S. This is Sony's H.264 long-up format. You can record this in both UHD 4K and FHD, but again, no DCI 4K. You get the choice of 422 10-bit and 420 8-bit. This also applies the same in 1080p. This format sits as a nice in-between choice. It's not as high quality as the XAVC-SI, and it's not as efficient as their H.265 base XAVC-HS, but you can access all the frame rates when in PAL at 25, 50, and 100, and also in NTSC, which is 24, 30, 60, and 120 FPS when shooting in 4K UHD and FHD, and it will work better on older computers than compared to the XAVC-HS. Last is XAVC-SI. This is Sony's high-performance, high-quality, all-eye H.264 format, and it's widely regarded as the industry standard when it comes to broadcast and commercial work, which says a lot about the quality and performance that is associated with Sony's XAVC-SI. As a codec, you can choose between 4K UHD, DCI 4K, and FHD. So for those that need that DCI 4K 17:9 aspect ratio, this is the codec and format to use on the FX3A. Do note in the DCI 4K mode, you are locked to 24 FPS only, and the camera does do a system reboot. For the recording setting, you are locked down to just one option of 422 10-bit with no 8-bit option or 420. Even down to the bitrate, that is also locked down to match the frame rate and resolution that you're using. So it shows the intent of the codec for acquisition to be as high quality as possible. This is the largest option in terms of sizes, but the performance is very smooth when working in post-production. Now with the Sony FX3A covered, let's move over to the Canon C50's internal codecs and formats. There's a lot happening here with the Canon C50 with 4 internal codecs available, including a RAW video format. Let's first start with XF-AVC-S. This is Canon's H.264 AVC codec, which is based around an MP4 container file. It's available in DCI 4K, 4K UHD, DCI 2K, and FHD. The color space option available is 422 10-bit and 420 10-bit. Now in the 422 10-bit mode, you have the option to select between long up or all eye compression. For the 420 8-bit, this is purely long up only. A nice added extra flexibility and touch is that when recording in the 4K UHD or DCI modes, the all eye compression gives you 3 bit rates to choose from at 500, 375, and 250 megabits per second. This is great to see because usually when recording in ALL-I, there isn't an option to scale the bitrate to manage your storage for longer record times if it's something you need. So the flexibility here is a nice touch to give you control over your file sizes at the same time as giving you the post-production benefits of an ALL-I codec. Next is XF-HEVCS. This is Canon's professional H.265 codec. With this format, it only shoots in 10-bit color with the option of 422 and 420 sampling, so no 8-bit option here. For the Canon C50, this is a long GOP compression technique being used, and in fact, for us here at ProAV, this is now our most widely and regularly used codec for recording when making these videos. We almost exclusively use XF-HEVCS on our Canon C80 and C50 because it gives us all the quality we need for relatively simple videos like this while being very friendly on storage. On a Canon C50, the XF-HEVCS can be recorded in DCI 4K, UHD, DCI 2K, and FHD, so very flexible options here. Now, because the C50 supports OpenGate full sensor 3x2 recording, you can tap into the full 7K resolution of this sensor while still using XF-HEVCS, using it either in 422 10-bit or 420 10-bit, which is great. You will be limited to a max frame rate of up to 30 FPS, but this is still impressive nonetheless. With modern chipsets and computers being so efficient in how they handle HEVC, using it has been such a benefit to our workflow. Now let's look at XF-AVC. Now it may sound like we've been here before, and it does sound very similar to the XF-AVCS, but regular XF-AVC uses a .mxf container rather than a .mp4 container. You still get the same option of long GOP and ALL-I compression with resolutions of DCI 4K, 4K UHD, DCI 2K, and FHD. Now, the .mxf container or wrapper was designed specifically to give you easier playback and editing performance in post-production and other benefits such as being able to use interlaced scan formats rather than progressive. So this is more broadcast friendly, but it does still mean that you can't see thumbnails and quick playback for your video clips without bringing it into some post-production software. Last but by far not the least, top of the food chain is RAW. Yes, with the Canon C50, you have internal RAW recording using Canon Cinema RAW-like codec. This is a 12-bit RAW format which uses a .crm container and allows you to shoot the maximum resolution of the sensor mode size you're in. For example, in full frame 3x2 OpenGate and full frame, you get the maximum 7K resolution of the C50 sensor. When you go down to Super 35mm and Super 16mm, then it goes down in resolution to 5K and 2.5K respectively. RAW comes in 3 flavors, LT, ST, and HQ. When you shoot in LT and ST, this is when the C50 has the option of 7K 60fps in full frame mode. This is a major benefit of shooting internal RAW on the C50 because this is the only way to get the full resolution and frame rate of the sensor together. 7K 60fps is not available on the other more compressed codecs we've already looked at. The performance of Cinema RAW Lite in post-production can be more demanding, and you will get slightly more noise in your image straight out of camera because there is no noise reduction in the camera being done to this codec at that time. But RAW formats like these are all about enabling you to get the best possible image quality in your grading suite with control over things like your white balance, ISO, log format, sharpness, tint, and more, as long as minimal compression is a thing, which is designed for performance in your grading suite. So that's codecs on both the FX3A and the Canon C50. For a lot of people and the work that they'll be doing, both these cameras will definitely have you covered when it comes to the codecs you need for acquisition during capturing and recording, post-production in the intermediary process, and also for final delivery for the platforms you need for your work to be seen. That said, it's clear to see the added options that are available here on the Canon C50, from very modern codecs like HEVC up to the top internal RAW codec, which truly unlocks the maximum recording capability of the C50. If you want to buy any of these cameras yourself, then head over to ProAV and we'll be more than happy to help. Like, subscribe, and turn on notification. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.